Episode 154. I think I called the last one 154. I guess I misnumbered myself. It was actually 153. This one is 154. So how about that? um, so yeah, I'm gonna play with some ideas with this one. So I don't know how long I'll be at it, but more or less, just eh, we'll just see what it is. And then I just got some YouTube stuff playing in the background, some business stuff, some movie stuff, and then I guess some podcast stuff later on, and some comic book stuff. I don't know. It's all just on a playlist, so I'm just gonna let that rock, and I'm just gonna work, and we're gonna see what the heck I'm going to do with this, because I have no idea.
I want to make you wake up tomorrow morning and have you look at the world in a permanently different way, because that is the mark of true education. Sure, that transformation can sometimes be terrifying, but it is something we must do in order to satisfy our evolutionary instincts. Today, I will be looking outside of my normal realm of expertise, going from the medium of gaming into the medium of animation, a field that is often derided as lesser than that of live action, a cartoonish world of bright colors meant to stimulate the brains of children. In response to those who hold that needless prejudice, I shall present a moment that I believe eclipses most profound moments that can be found in live action film. That moment can be found in the Japanese anime franchise known as Ghost in the Shell. I challenge any of our supposed cultural betters with a prejudice against animation to watch either the Ghost in the Shell movies or the TV shows and then proclaim that it's just a cartoon. The entire franchise is one long meditation on the nature of human consciousness. What makes human beings special compared to other animate beings? Is there anything that really differentiates us from animals, or cyborgs, or androids? Allow me to present some meditations on this.
Hey, what's up, Volcom?
Not only by Ghost in the Shell.
No, I never figured it out, man.
Before I begin,
Yeah, pause
I
this.
wish
I did a few tests, and every time I lost the footage. So it would live stream for me, and the stream would go perfectly fine. The stream would work out exactly like this is, as far as like being able to stream. But once I finished streaming, it would it would just cut. Like the content would get cut. It wouldn't save directly to my channel. Um, Unlike when I stop these streams right here, they automatically upload to my Twitch channel, and then I'm able to download them and then upload them later on to my YouTube and things like that. But it would seem like I have to not only live stream from the OBS but also record at the same time. And in that case, I'm still live streaming on Twitch, and I'd still have the recording to be able to throw up on YouTube, but I don't know if I'm allowed to throw recordings onto Twitch. Like, so the OBS, for whatever reason, I tried talking to OBS about it on Discord about how come my live streams aren't being uploaded and saved to my channel, and nobody has seemed to be able to give me an answer to that. So I don't know if it's just a me thing. Maybe I'm asking the wrong question, but yeah, it just it never worked out. So I still have it. You can see it on the bottom of the screen right here. I still have OBS. I could still use it whenever, but I mean, yeah, it like if it's not gonna work, like I said, I ran multiple tests to try doing all sorts of things to try to get it to upload to my Twitch channel as soon as I got done recording. It never panned out. So yeah, it goes with what I'm saying with how I don't understand like all this technology stuff. Like I look things up, I go to where they tell me to go to, I ask the questions, I don't get answers, and I could only do so much before it's like, fuck it. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want then. If that's gonna be the way it goes, then I can't not stream. And I don't want to just leave my stuff live because most of my views come from people watching after I get done recording. Like, not a lot of people join me live at the moment. So it's like, if I do the live stream and then I lose it as soon as I'm done and it doesn't get uploaded to my channel, all those people who watch my stuff after I get done recording aren't going to be able to watch it. I don't get the views, things like that. So, you know, maybe one day, maybe one day, somebody will be able to kind of let me know what's going on. Yeah, it could be a verification thing. I know I had to like link my stream key, so my actual like Twitch channel link, whatever those little codes are, I had to link it to it, so it's there. But yeah, maybe like there is a verification step or something. So I don't know. But I asked I asked around. I got a bunch of question marks and non-answers, and it was like, all right, I guess I'm chopped liver. But yeah, so I mean, this will work for me now. It's not super super high quality, I guess, but at the end of the day, I'm just streaming things and just showing people steps, and you can still see what I'm doing. Maybe it's not in HD or something, but like, you know, anyone who joins me is welcome to ask questions and things like that if they're wondering how am I doing certain things or what did I do specifically to get certain results. I'm more than happy to answer all those questions and things like that. But yeah, one day I'll just build it, get bigger and better at it. Now, I wonder if that's what I want to do. And verified by who? Are you saying verified by Twitch or OBS? Okay. Yeah, so maybe I just want to do it the way I had it. All right, I was doing it right. Yeah. Yeah, that may be the thing because everyone that I talked to was from the OBS stuff. I went to the OBS Discord, OBS Help, OBS Contact, all that stuff. So yeah, it could be right, could be on the Twitch end. I just hate how complicated things are. Like, I'm not trying to do anything super fancy or anything out of the ordinary. It's like, no, no, I just want to stream my screen, like how everyone does it. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm happy with this for now. Like I said, maybe one day I'll be able to afford like a better computer, a stronger computer, get the dual screen going, get all that stuff. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's like even just the RAM on my laptop here that just doesn't allow me, like it just can't handle the live streaming. I mean, this is a 2012 laptop. You know, and OBS probably wasn't even a thing in 2012, so it's, who knows what it could be, some sort of technical difficulty. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is crazy. So I don't pop up for you when, even though you follow me? That's crazy. I mean, I don't even know what to think about that. I only know what I know about Twitch. I follow some people, and anytime they're live, they pop up for me. And I get a bunch of recommendations, but I don't too often follow the recommendations unless I hear the people that I'm already following kind of recommend them. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that person around. Then maybe I'll jump on their or sub to their channel. But most of the time, like the people I follow are just people that I watch on YouTube, and I like their content there. So it's just like, watching them live on Twitch is just additional, um, what, contact or whatever. Ah, okay. So when you search, maybe maybe I'm still just small time. Anytime I go on the art category, because I'll kind of like see what other people are doing from time to time, just to compare what I'm doing to what they're doing, um, as far as like presentation and what type of art are people doing and things like that. Just a bit of research for myself. I'll look at the view count and see how many people are watching them. And, these people have a lot more people than I do. So it could just be that even though I've been on here for months and I have, over 100 hours streamed and all that other stuff, just because I don't have a lot of people, um, a lot of subscribers and things. I'm probably just like a little lower on the totem pole, so they'll highlight the ones that are getting a lot more engagement, interaction, and things like that. At the end of the day, Twitch is a business, and it's all in the business of clicks and data. And the people who are getting more clicks and more data and more engagement are gonna get more highlight. It's just the way it goes. The recommended is fucked up. uh, View count shouldn't matter though if I sort recommended. True. Since I follow you, I only watch you, but you're right, it's business. Pretty annoying. Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing like business research and things like that since I've started my own business. Kind of looking into how all of it works and all that stuff. And it's all pretty straightforward. It's all the ugliness that we know that it is, that we don't want to believe that it is. And you know that's just what it is. And it's like, oh, okay, it's just the way it is. So you just got to accept it. I mean, at the end of the day, I just decided to keep doing what I do, and you know, slowly build the audience up and the community up, and just do it all that way. Because I don't know if I'm doing the greatest stuff in the world here, but I'm certainly just doing what I like to do, and I think that there's a little bit of value in it. So, it'll come one day, and then once I have viewership and more engagement, more followers, things like that, it probably grows at like an exponential rate. The more business you bring in for Twitch, the more Twitch is going to push you. So then the more followers you get, it kind of like snowballs and grows that way, as long as you're consistent and keep going at it. And that's all I'm trying to do, is be consistent with what I want to do, instead of like chasing something. Like, that could be a dark path. But yeah, this latest series, I've just been doing a whole bunch of photo bashing, and it's a whole lot of rinse and repeat of what I've already, of this character and things like that. But sometimes you got to do things a lot of times to like really understand what it is you're doing. Hey, thanks, man. I I've been at it for a long time, so I know a lot of things. Professionally, I've been an illustrator, and then I got my degree in animation. I have a bit of professional animation work, so I regard myself as a professional animator. And then I did 10 years as a graphic designer, and these are all different skill sets, different mediums, different things. And then on top of that, my computer crashed back in 2013. I just got this old laptop last year. So I went, 7 years without doing digital work. And I just hunkered down, and instead of like giving up on stuff, I just did um I just decided to focus on doing traditional work. So I got better at drawing with pencil. I learned how to ink. I taught myself how to watercolor paint, acrylic paint, um, murals, painting skateboards, surfboards, and shit like that, because I live out here on the beach. And then I got my tattooing license. So I did all the traditional shit. I got an airbrush gun, and I did that for 7 years, and then I got this laptop, and I was like, okay, I could at least dabble with a little bit of, all the while doing graphic design professionally. So it's like I got a ton of skills, and a lot of people, well, some see it as a good thing, some see it as a bad thing, because they're like, oh, when they see you have a ton of skills, they're like, oh, so you don't have any focus. It's like, oh no, I got focus. I'm just broke. Computers are expensive. But yeah, I haven't watched too many other artists, to be honest. I watched like Jim Lee's channel, and Jim Lee is, one of the greats. And I just recently started watching Nardachi, who's one of my followers. She's like super helpful and supportive. So I just like jumped on her channel recently to see who she is and things like that. Since she helps me out, why not help each other out, sort of things. But I really appreciate it, man. It's no wasted time. But yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Go ahead and watch, chill, whatever, man. I'm here.
If you wish, you can skip to this point in the video. That way, you don't have to wait longer to find out what I believe is the most profound moment in the history of animation. However, if you have not seen that original video, I strongly recommend you pay attention for the next few minutes. I am sure that at some point during your secondary or post-secondary education, you have learnt of the phrase, "I think, therefore I am," arguably the most famous of philosophical maxims. The original author of this phrase, René Descartes, was aware of the limitations of human perception. How could we be certain that the world we see before us isn't some illusion brought on by a malevolent force, be it a demon or something like the Matrix? We never can be. In the search of an irrefutable reality, Descartes crafted his maxim: if all else is an illusion, at least Descartes could be certain that he existed, because he could think. For hundreds of years, and even arguably to this day, this maxim is held to be self-evident, to be the base of all philosophy. What a lot of people don't know is that there were philosophers providing challenges to Descartes' maxim, most notably the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. In Nietzsche's book, Beyond Good and Evil, he challenges Descartes' notion of
You know what I wanted to
in
do?
I think, therefore I am. Unlike Descartes, Nietzsche is not so certain that the I, or in other words, the ego, exists. If we have the capacity to think, who or what gave that capacity to us? How do we know that capacity is truly ours and that the thoughts we create are truly our own? If you're having a hard time understanding this, think of it this way. When you get the idea to take revenge on somebody who wronged you, did you have that idea? Or did that idea have you? In other words, you did not create the idea for revenge. Rather, the idea came to you. It is for reasons like these that Nietzsche criticized Descartes' notion of I and thus fostered doubt in this supposedly infallible maxim. To make the maxim more accurate, Nietzsche figured we should remove the notion of I from I think, therefore I am, and instead assume that something is thinking. Now, I bring all of this up because we see this philosophical dilemma acted out in the first Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yeah, we talked about emotes a lot, and I haven't forgotten about it.
Is a cyborg suffering
And it's true that I am super busy. Let's be honest, I keep myself busy, and yeah, the part of what I'm trying to do, I think when we talked about emotes, it said like you had to be an affiliate status in order to be able to create emotes for your own channel or something like that. And that's basically all I'm waiting for. Uh, Whenever that happens, I'm gonna go balls to the wall with them, at least for my channel. But you're right. Like I could be creating them for other people. But yeah, I'm super busy without it. I think if I have to wait to be affiliate status in order to be able to make them for my channel, that's all I'm waiting for, really. And that's gonna happen whenever it happens. But once it does, yeah, man. Part of the reason why I wanted to do Twitch was, I watch this guy Maximilian Dude's channel, and he has all sorts of like animations that play, and he's always releasing emote packs and things like that. But this guy's been at it for 10 years, so he has like, he has the business in order to be able to do that. But that was like attractive to me. That was like, oh, okay. Like me as an artist, I would love to be able to contribute to this platform with that stuff because it seems fun. I want to have little animations for subscribers. I want to have emotes, emote packs that people can come here and get exclusively from here. So they're always playing in my head of like, I see the emotes that people create. And I see people react to them when someone brings somebody else's pack of emotes that they got elsewhere to somebody else's channel. They drop them in. They're like, oh, wow, that's a cool custom emote. You know, like I kind of see all that stuff and I think it's great. Okay. So, you know, that right now that seems to be my journey. My journey is to I guess, you know, get that affiliate status, and until then, you know, it's basically me just doing my thing. Okay, so if I do 90, what if I do, yeah, what if I do negative 90? See, that's not bad. But also take the reds. And negative 75. So yeah, I mean, that's just the journey now. Uh, you know, I keep my eye on what needs to be done in order to get affiliate status. You know, there's 50 followers, and then you have to have an average of 3 followers. And I'm closer to getting the 50 followers than I am getting the average of 3. Like, you know, I always get like 1, 2 people at a time. I think it's only the few times I've been rated that I actually had like, you know, a ton of people in chat, and then only a small percentage of them like subscribe and things like that. So it's just like, okay, you know, I got to work at this and really, really get like good and well, yeah, you know, just to get good basically. But I'll get there. I'm not too worried about it. Oh yeah. So we just keep this at 0. And there we go. Get this back to purple. But we could probably dumb it down a bit. Yeah. You know, that's why I try to keep my artwork something a little gamey. To be honest, I mean the story, my story that I'm working on, it's all based off of a video game. I'm not quite ready to talk about it just yet. Um, but since my inspiration is coming from games, I figure my artwork is pretty game worthy, if that, you know, if that makes sense. They will host you. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, you know, maybe I'll just get the emote game going. I was, yeah, maybe I should. I just don't invest in enough time into thinking about them, I guess. You know, in order to make just random emotes for other games that exist out there and other characters and things like that. You know, my head is so busy with just thinking about my own stuff. But yeah, I'd have to like, I guess, communicate with people about what they would want. Kind of like how you and I were talking a while back about there's, you know, people with the uh what was it? GTA 5 emotes and things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm good with this color. I think this will work. Now, true that. Yeah, unfortunately, I charge a lot since I have a pretty, since I'm able to like sustain myself already, and then I have like all the skills to be able to do everything. I don't want to go around saying like, "Oh, I'm expensive," but you know what I mean. Like, I'm kind of good. I'm kind of good with where I'm at in life. So when it comes to like actually doing freelance work and things like that, like I'm fortunate to be able to be in a position now, unlike years ago, but to be in a position now where I'm like, I don't have to like work for peanuts like I used to. You know, that's something that always comes up whenever talking freelance stuff is once I tell people, the price or whatever, they're gonna be like, oh, that's why I'd rather just put out a product that already exists. That's actually why I started writing, was in order to create a product that already exists. That way, people could just buy the dope shit that I make rather than try to hire me for and not be prepared to actually be able to pay the price. Where if I already created something, um, and then I'm just like, yeah, you can get this print or you can get this commission or something like that for this number. You know, people are a lot more receptive to that, I guess. At least when it comes to my stuff. I know a bunch of artists who, things work out a little bit differently for them. There we go. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I always work my hardest. That's one thing that I've always done. So yeah, I appreciate your confidence in me. If you have any side time, could be worth it to make emotes for cheaper in hopes that you get connect for bigger streamers. Yeah, I guess I would just have to go out of my way to make emotes. Right now, like as it stands at this very second, the way that I kind of see me tackling emotes is since I'm not putting in investing the time to think about other characters and characters that already exist in other IPs and other properties of just creating emotes of my characters and my things, even though people don't really know who they are. At the very least, I can make some dope stuff. It's just I haven't even began to tackle any of the biggest characters. Like the one I'm working on now is the first really big important character that I've started to tackle out of the 400 that I have. So it's like once I start getting my characters out there and like we said, get that affiliate status, I'll definitely start making emotes of my own stuff, in which case there's the incentive because it's all for me, all for my stuff. I don't have to like, let's say for instance, make Resident Evil Village emotes and then, put all the time and effort into that. And then maybe, like a few people get them and then people move on to, Resident Evil 9 and all the other video games that are out there. And then it's like, okay, well, I just put in a bunch of time and effort into those emotes where if I, make emotes of my own stuff, they, there may be a little bit more longevity to them. That are millionaires, but that's a huge weight. Yeah. Well, it's not even about like details and things like that. It's just making them worthwhile. Making the emote worth making in the first place. It's like a good emote is like a good joke, you know. You could be a comedian telling a joke and I don't know, you could say the wrong thing and it could backfire. You can make an emote with the best of intentions and then, but people don't see it, where I thought maybe it was a great idea, but then maybe I just missed the mark or bad timing or something like that. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Oh, for sure. For sure. People like just see what I do and they're like, yo, can you get me like I don't know what a pack would be, like 5 to 10 uh, Devil May Cry 6 emotes and get me a happy Dante and a sad Virgil and a winking lady, something like that. A drooling whatever the arms maker girl is, whatever her name is. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're like, yo, can you just make these for me? Just a quick pack like that, and then they pay me and all that other stuff. 100%. I'll drop everything, do that, exit out, and then and just do it. At that point it's a commission. It's kind of how I handle commissions. There we go. Yeah, definitely no issue there. Oh wow, so that was 5 emotes for 100? Yeah, that seems cool, man. Like stuff like that I could for sure do. Or even if yeah, it looks like that might be the actual streamer where he's like, "Oh, this can you do emotes of me doing, one like this, one like that?" For sure. So, we're definitely onto something talking about this. There we go. Does that have to be a little lighter? Yeah. But yeah, one day it'll happen for sure. Which one? God damn, that might be the best one. For sure. I'll definitely look into it. I think but yeah, like I said, as it stands now, probably the goal is get the affiliate status, start making emotes of my own thing. That way, I'm at least making them with a purpose. And then, that, I imagine that would be kind of like the marketing in order to promote myself as an emote maker, and then other people will come to me, And then I have my own emotes that I make, and then there's all their emotes that they would want to make. Kind of got to just let it all happen. Like I said, I could chase it for sure. Chase it and be like, make emotes my everything for a spell. I gotta turn this off. There we go. There we go. Bought some AirPod Pros and they're fucking good. What's a goddamn? I can't believe I don't even know what an AirPod is. Are those earbuds that are like wireless earbuds or something? I was just asking somebody about those recently. Go. Push this over.
The original owner of the brain, at least in regards to the first film, is unknown. With the lack of a personality, with the lack of memories to define her individuality, we see Motoko struggle to find her true identity. Who was she before she became a cyborg? Did she even exist at all? Does she exist now? When the character of Bato witnesses Motoko's struggle with her notion of self, he tangentially invokes Descartes' maxim. Isn't it enough that she has the ability to think, therefore she is? Though Bato never receives a direct response, the creators of the film imply the response throughout the story. The most notable example is with the scene on the boat. While Bato and Motoko are philosophizing with each other, they both hear a voice speak up inside their cyberbrains. The voice sounds like Motoko's. When Bato asks whether or not Motoko was the one that spoke, she remains silent. The film cuts to the next scene before we can get a definitive answer. What this scene is trying to convey relates back to Nietzsche's criticism of Descartes. Is it I who thinks, or is something else thinking? Was it Motoko that spoke, or did something else speak? Did she think up the phrase, or did something else? The notion of I, or the ego, is challenged in other parts of the film, notably with the Garbage Man. His memories were implanted into his augmented brain. His notion of self, therefore, is completely false. The terror this man feels upon realizing this fact is mirrored in the audience, and no wonder. If the human brain can be quantified, If its mechanisms can eventually be replicated or manipulated,
Oh shit,
maybe
this is set
our
on
notion
overlay.
of self
God damn it.
can be replicated, manipulated, or worse, obliterated. Worst of all, if our egos can be obliterated by technology, what does that say about the human notion of a soul? Maybe there is no soul, let alone one that makes human beings special. Maybe there is no ghost in the shell. This was the terrifying element that I referenced towards the beginning of this video. When our preconceptions are challenged, it leaves us in a state of existential limbo, brooding, spinning, resentful, and unsure of where to go. Billions of people around the world live and die by a belief in the soul, in an ego that transcends the body after death. If that's not true, if we're not actually special and our egos are illusions that can be manipulated by technology, then there might be no purpose or meaning to our consciousness and all the suffering it brings. Luckily, Ghost in the Shell offers two potential solutions to this existential dilemma. One solution that we see at the end of the first film is a merging of body and mind with machines. Doing this will elevate our consciousness to such enormous heights that we can become godlike. This is why when Matoko's consciousness merges with that of the puppet master at the end of the first film, she sees an angel descend from above. Her mind is rising to a level of greatness that can only be described as heavenly, and represented using an imperfect human concept like an angel. It's a beautifully poetic notion to evolve beyond our primordial paths and become immortal. It addresses the pain of existential angst. To illustrate such an event and also make it somewhat believable, it might cause some to declare Motoko's transcendence as a profound moment, maybe even the most profound moment, at least in the history of animated film. It's hard to argue against such a declaration, given the fact that Ghost in the Shell is the most celebrated film in the realm of Japanese animation, with the possible exception of Akira. However, I would boldly challenge this declaration. While this moment is undeniably profound, I think there is one that is slightly more profound. It deals with a potential second solution to this problem of existential angst, where instead of becoming like a god, one goes in the exact opposite direction. This moment can be found in the film's sequel, Ghost in the Shell 2: Innocence. The story of Ghost in the Shell 2 takes place 3 years after the events of the first film. Motoko Kusanagi has long since disappeared into the net after having merged with the Puppet Master. This time around, the story centers on the aforementioned Bato and his partner Togasa. They are investigating a series of possible murders carried out by sex dolls against their owners. The theory is that somebody is implanting replicated consciousness into these sex dolls and programming that consciousness to kill. During their investigation into who this programmer might be, Bato and Togasa arrive at a mansion owned by somebody named Kim, an ex-soldier turned hacker who potentially has ties to the manufacturer of the sex dolls. After searching the mansion, they come across a human-sized, digitally augmented marionette laying lifeless in a chair. Convinced that this marionette isn't so lifeless, Bato turns the chair over and addresses the marionette as Kim. Kim then begins to speak. When Bato and Togasa ask Kim why he chooses to live in a motionless marionette, he responds by condemning humanity's inherent imperfection. Man's knowledge, man's perception of reality, both are corrupted for various reasons, be it bias or plain irrationality. How often do we witness our fellow man ignoring or willfully obscuring reality in order to protect their emotions? Kim figures that the only way a human can transcend these imperfections is to either become a god via augmentation of the human body, or to go in the opposite direction. To Kim, that opposite direction involves becoming a doll. By separating the mind from the body, the mind's perception of reality won't be corrupted by the body's imperfection. Kim's mind, like Motoko's mind, exists in the virtual world, in the net, only returning to the body when necessary. When the mind is absent from the body, that body becomes more or less that of a doll. This notion of separating the body from the mind in order to achieve true enlightenment is typical of Eastern religion, specifically Buddhism. The aim of the Buddhist is to reject the illusion of the material world in order to achieve nirvana. For the sake of this discussion, nirvana can also be understood as true reality. The creators of Ghost in the Shell 2's story take this ancient religious concept and couch it in a secular, scientific scenario, one that could very well happen if and when consciousness becomes digitized. In other words, the Buddhist concept of nirvana could theoretically become real, at least in a digital sense. We would leave the imperfect reality as perceived through our mortal bodies, and we would do that by separating our mind from our body. And to drive Kim's point home, he demonstrates just how easily our perception of reality is corrupted, not just to Bato and Togasa, but to the audience. At this point in the film, the scene of Bato and Togasa entering the mansion and confronting Kim begins to loop. The same thing happens 3 times with only minor details changing. At first, the 2 protagonists, as well as the audience, get the sense that something is off, but they don't quite know what it is. Things become especially odd when the marionette turns into a marionette of Togasa, and the supposedly real Togasa has his insides revealed to be cybernetic. For the few minutes that this happens, the characters and the audience get a hint that what they are perceiving isn't real, but in those few minutes, they are unable to determine what, if anything, is real. Though it is eventually revealed that Kim was hacking into the minds of Bato and Togasa and was causing this loop in reality to happen, we are left with an important question. At what point did reality stop and Kim's hacking begin? If we were in Bato or Togasa's shoes, would we be able to know? Most likely, we would forever lose our grip on reality and become the dolls, the playthings of somebody or something like Kim. Thankfully for us, the audience, we were only at the mercy of the film's director, Mamoru Oshii, for a few minutes. But even then, the impact of this scene is permanent for those who truly understand it. If human beings, to quote Kim, can be quantified and reduced to simple mechanisms and materials, what makes us so different from dolls? What prevents us from being played with by forces greater than ourselves? To an extent, we already are the playthings of our emotions, as I stated before when talking about revenge. Who's to say that one day, when brains can become digitally augmented, that we couldn't become full automatons, that our perceptions of reality could be permanently corrupted, that we could forever lose our sense of self and become nothing less than a doll? If we assume that human beings are quantifiable, then theoretically, human beings are dolls to a certain extent and can have their sense of self obliterated. The fact that Ghost in the Shell 2 made not only a convincing case in this regard, but also demonstrated how easily our perception of reality can be toyed with, truly makes this the most profound moment in the history of animation. While I believe the first Ghost in the Shell film on the whole is better and more important to the medium, I don't believe any moment from that film measures up to the level of deep philosophical insight presented by Bato.
Damn, this is the first time I heard someone give Innocence its
This
flowers.
could easily become our future, and thankfully we have this film to prepare us. We can decide whether or not to augment our brains. We can possibly install software to prevent this sort of hacking from happening. Having said that, though, we are all going to have to make that step towards the next stage of human evolution sooner or later. The only thing we need to decide, however, is which route to take. Do we become like gods, where we perfectly augment our bodies and minds with technology? Or do we become like dolls, where we separate our mind from our body and forever become one with the digital matrix? Let me know what you would choose in the comment section below. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. When you do that, it tells the YouTube algorithm that not only this video, but all the other videos on my channel are worth watching. It will then share my videos around in people's recommended feeds. Also, if you want to help me create more content like this, where I break down complicated, profound
Defiled and dressed in rags, you might not mark her as a witch, if not for that iconic pointed hat. Legends attest that witches have been wearing this peculiar style of headwear since long ago, which implies that magic women were common back then. Tour the Nexus, and you'll find a plethora of statues depicting women wrapped in robes, masked by hoods. Befriend the monumental, and she reveals that she too is female. For in Demon Souls, women have a unique capacity for soul arts. For them, sorcery is commonly this art of emotion. It's intuited from feeling rather than developed through contemplation.
Frake wields a different type of magic from my witchcraft. Frake's magic stems from an understanding of the essence of the demon soul, while my witchcraft merely channels its energy. If the demon is cursed, so shall be the craft. Frake's power comes from human potential, while mine is a dark, dependent art.
So when you find a demon soul, you take it to Uri to manifest its power, not Frank.
I feel great misgivings about Frake. I was branded a witch at a very young age and have been persecuted ever since. Although I never had ill intentions, this black craft of mine is intrinsically evil. If there is a God, he gave us souls to do good, not to practice witchcraft. My accusers detested my dark arts for good reason, for the path I have taken is tainted. But I am afraid that Frake, too, has ventured down the wrong path. He has become obsessed with the dark arts.
The dark arts and witches have an evil reputation because here in this nexus, years ago, women seem to have done what men could not. Here, their unique proficiency for soul magic was used to its fullest potential to worship, to study, and to eventually awaken the old one. This led to the first scourge, to demons, and to the defilement of half the world. If there was any one member responsible for awakening the old one, then it was the maiden in black. This witch demonstrates a motherly tenderness with the demon, and was one of its most powerful servants during this time. Like other witches, she would have channeled its power, and the power of the Old One was dark indeed. The Old One's magic is to absorb souls, claiming them through a network of demons and fog. Skewered with spears likely dropped from the Nexus, the Old One appears to be unkillable. So, with countless souls lost, the fabric of reality broken, and all their kingdoms reduced to ruin, the Monumentals appear to have settled for a half measure. They forced the Old One into slumber, imprisoned it in their sky temple, and took it to the far reaches of human habitation, where they hoped the beast might never be disturbed again. The maiden, defiled and dressed in black, was blinded with wax and forced to tend to the candles within the shrine. She is the shame of the Monumentals, a disastrous product of their culture's obsession with magic. Countless people would have ended up displaced from this, and the all-consuming fog would have also exacerbated the number of impoverished refugees. Busy with the war, no nation would have accepted these poor men and women, forcing them all to wander the earth. To repair the fabric of reality, 6 archstones were constructed and given to the remaining leaders of men: the ambitious king, the digger king, the intelligent queen, the priest to the shadow men, the giants, and, yes, even to the chief of those wandering poor. Starved of magic during this period, many of these cultures collapsed. This would have affected the poor people of the world, with no magic arts to heal them and no nation welcoming them. The chief of these vagrants led them deep into the Western Valley, where no one would mind their poverty.
This place is a proper mound of rubbish. All the rot of the world, living or not, ends up here.
Here, anarchy reigns. Poor scavenge for food, shelter, and come as no surprise then that the chief's duty to their archstone was quickly forgotten. Why should they care about the outside world when it had all but abandoned them? To make matters worse, above a new religion was gaining power, a priesthood from the land of Mer, whose temples quickly came to span the continent, especially in the western lands. They had a belief in a singular deity, a god who seeks all that is pure and good and rejects all that is perceived to be impure and evil. As a result, we see high-ranking priests achieve saintly status by remaining pure in every sense, sequestering themselves in their temples devoted to prayer, reciting miracles that reject death, selfishness, disease, poison, but most reviled of all was magic. It was those evil sorcerers and magicians that caused a near apocalypse, so the priests' anti-magic stance would have made their religion ripe for popularity. They built upon the monumental's ban on soul magic, taking steps to oppress any who practiced the craft, regardless of intentions or circumstance, and Uria serves as their foremost example of this. Now, while the soul arts are a distant memory at this point in history, artifacts from this bygone age still exist. Take the ring of magical nature, for example. Cursed witches were believed to be born holding this ring, making artifacts like these objects of extreme fear and superstition. Unless the church found them, of course, then they were considered divine revelations instead. For example, there was the Moonlight Sword, granted to Temple Knight Vitzo, the Istarel, given to Temple Knight Resiah, Blind, given to Selin Vinland, and Brand, taken up by her brother Gar. But perhaps most special of all was a ring of sincere prayer, an artifact found by a truly lucky young girl, leading to her instant rise as the sixth saint, Astraea. So, is she a saint or a witch? It's here that we arrive at the biggest twist that Demon Souls has to offer, that magic and miracles are two sides of the same coin, and that the old one is at the heart of it all. Why else would all of the most powerful saints of the temple be women? Why else were miracles energized alongside magic when the old one was awakened? Why did the priests' talismans of God resemble the old one? It's simple, because their so-called God is the old one. His miracles are the soul arts, and women can more easily channel this magic, whether they be witches or saints.
Prayer is for the foolish, quaint, and soon to be dead. And heaven forbid the day you find out what their so-called God really is.
The temple believes whatever best suits their politics, so when they cast their arrogant gaze towards the denizens of the valley, they didn't see the needy, they saw sinners being punished by God. However, this couldn't be farther from the truth.
I find something odd about this place. It brims with grime. It once feels strangely pure.
The lost and unclean are simply victims of circumstance, circumstances that the temple helps to create when they abandon them, circumstances that Astraea, the sixth saint, set out to resolve. During the early days of the Second Scourge, Astraea was quick to embark on a relief mission to Volataria, and in the years after entering Pater, she discovered the existence of the valley.
How many years has it been? That witch Astraea came to this valley with that squid-headed knight. Those ridiculous white robes of hers. I swear I caught her glaring at my son in disgust. Yes, it's true, she is as nasty as they come.
For a woman whose luck saved her from both poverty and plague, seeing the poor and afflicted came as a shock, which the filthy woman misinterprets here as contempt. In truth, the clergywoman's heart ached for their suffering, and unlike her peers in the church, she came from nothing, so she better understood their plight, and so she began to question for the first time, why has God permitted their pain? If there is a natural evil, it is not those who were forced to live in the valley, it is God, so cruel and unjust to allow suffering of his creation. And so Astraea chose to bring salvation to those people abandoned, just like the trap. healing magic can only go so far. In order to reach the root of the problem, she needed to take away the source of thoughts which bring pain to the soul. And so she became an archdemon for the old one, gaining the power to rob the living of their souls. She embraced the filthy, ridding them of their suffering, and for that they would be her.
Oh, the man worship her. The same man who would snatch my child away from me.
The Strider sits in a mountain of gold and horses. Both are offerings from the men of the valley, who are desperate to repay their debt to the woman who loved them. Any soul would do, making it a terrifying place for people like the filthy woman and the temple knights who embarked on pilgrimage here.
Have you heard the rumors about the Strider of the Valley of Defilement? They claim that she and her royal knight have become demons and lead a clan of degenerate miscreants. In truth, the rumors are surely unfounded. There are all sorts of wrongdoers down there who think up such nonsense. Yet if the rumors are true, then may she be eternally damned for her debasement of the Lord's name.
By this point, her bodyguard, Garl Vinland, should have stepped in and purified her for her sacrilege. He came from a truly noble and powerful family within the temple, so he risked everything by standing by her side. But, of course, he had to. He had seen the same things that she had, and the knight would have been inspired by her sincere faith, so he bravely stood in solidarity with her decision.
How dare you persist in intruding upon our haven? You abandoned us long ago. What right do you have?
But good intentions do not make you immune from spreading evil. Instead, here, this simply heightens the tragedy.
Dearest Strider, I have failed you.
You killed him, didn't you? Very well. I can no longer resist you. Do as you like. Take your precious demon soul.
The strong, defiled, and dressed in white, is a soul that grants spells of death, relief, and resurrection. She is, at once, the most impure demon of them all, but also closer to God than any saint before her. So ask yourself, slayer of demons, do the ends justify the means? So, I love making lore videos, but I like listening to lore as well, and one of my favorite things to listen to right now is Mythos. It's a collection of Greek myths on Audible, and it's an audiobook that you can listen to for free during a 30-day Audible trial. So I'm going to play a sample, and while you listen to it, go and visit audible.com/VartiVideo or text VartiVideo to 500 and you'll be able to start your free trial right now.
Alright, this one's a little colorized just from the heavy purples. So maybe not the best one to start with, but whatever. I'm sure once I get a few more done, this will start to look well, not this one in particular, but you know what I'm working on now will start to look a little more. I wonder. More can I get out of these things? right, how long have I been at this one? So a little over an hour. Yeah, I'll call an end to this one. I gotta take a little break and uh, whatchamacallit, make some coffee, do whatever, and then I'll be back on later. I'll probably try to tackle two later on if I can, and I don't know, we'll see. But either way, gonna call it quits on this one, so we could see where we started, and this is what we're ending with. Where we started, where we're ending with. Now I wonder if I can. Still not completely happy with this. I wonder what I could do. So stupid. Well, either way, this is what happens when you try stuff, I guess. But yeah, I'll call this one quits. I'm G Mr. Drew. That's at G Mr. Drew on all social media. You follow, like, and subscribe. And, links are in bio along with my website, gmrdrew.art. You can check it out. I got stores and merch in there. So, you can check me out there if you want to look into what I have. I'm always building on merch and just trying to think of what are the next ideas and what else. Yeah, that's going to be it, man. You've been watching the Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 154, and just continuing this photo bash. And yeah, this one, because of the strong purple lighting in it, it just got, to this. And yeah, should be better later on. When I work on more standard pictures, as far as like what I'm actually trying to do here with this character. And yeah, I guess, stay tuned and we'll see. And thanks for stopping by, Volcom. It was good chatting. Twitch is what it is, man. We'll figure it out. If anything, as long as I keep consistent at, I keep building at this, then the way I see it is it's just going to get better. That's usually how it goes with all this stuff. So yeah, appreciate you stopping by, and everybody else, man. Thank you for watching. Love y'all. Thank y'all. I'll be back. Peace.